For the gearheads listening, what was most of this stuff tracked with from a guitar perspective?
Guitar perspective, it started off with Tom's usual selection of guitars, which were his Gibsons. Mostly for the Gibsons, mostly for like rhythm guitars. He has this Explorer that we use as kind of like the second guitar for rhythms.
Mm.
And don't tell him this, but he bought that Explorer because Jerry would always do it, like use an Explorer for the second rhythm guitar.
Interesting.
And he always harkened back to Stay Together for the Kids. But he went and bought like this Explorer that came out, I want to say like, I don't know when it came out, but it was called like the Gothic series. And it's matte black, and it has like nothing to do with probably what Jerry would have had as an Explorer. But it's one of those like funny things. We call it the het for James Hetfield. Let's get the head out.
That's funny.
So it was usually like one of his Gibsons and then either an SG or that one. But then in November we got the first prototype of his new Starcaster.
Yeah.
And that thing sounded awesome. We were just like, Tom was like, I cannot believe how easy it is to play this guitar.
With that Strat neck, but still the big body he's used to.
Yeah, and he fell in love with that guitar. And I've never seen Tom get excited about musical gear.
Yeah.
Ever.
He's not a gearhead, from what I've heard. Like Mark is, Tom's not.
Tom is not a gearhead, but he goes and buys gear because it looks cool. Or it looks inspiring to him, like, or because he heard somebody had this, But it's never been like, oh, I picked up this guitar and it was like I had to have it. It was always like, yeah, I went to Chicago Music while we were on tour, and that amp looked cool. That pedal looks super gnarly. I don't even know what it does, but it's cool.
I love it.
And that guitar looks cool too. And that's kind of what he would go by. Or it'd be stuff that he used in the studio with Jerry, and Jerry recommended this guitar with this pickup or blah, blah, blah. So this is the first time like he had picked up something and like I genuinely saw like an excitement.
Oh, that's rad.
And he would just love it. Like, and he still picks it up and is like excited about it. And then he started drawing on them and I'm just like, but then I'm just like, you know what? It's exactly what it needs to be. But yeah, that Starcaster was something that I had been dreaming up. And same thing with Jeff Pereira. Like me and him would be like, oh man, we got to get him into the Starcasters. And so I actually had started talking to Fender about the Tom Strat reissuing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was during COVID, and they were like, we don't care that Tom doesn't play Fender anymore, but it would be so cool to put this out. And I'm like, I agree with you. And I think Tom would be like at this point in his career, like down. So it's kind of started having those conversations at the beginning, and then COVID hit. All the factories kind of like went down, and that conversation kind of got tabled. until we started working on the new record and the world was kind of coming back together. And I talked to Michael Schultz over at Fender. I'm like, hear me out. Would you guys send a Starcaster to Tom? I think I can sell him on it. And he's like, dude, we don't make the Starcaster anymore. In fact, we don't even have a way of making it because they didn't have the tooling or whatever. And I think the only tooling that they had was like for the Squire. And those were like made in Korea or Indonesia, and I don't even know. And I'm like, I think we can get Tom back to Fender if we can get him this guitar. And we started going down that road, and he's like, listen, we can make some custom shop, but in order for it to be like made like properly factory wise, I think it's gonna have to be, I don't know that we'd be able to do it. And I'm like, well, humor me.
Yeah, try.
Can you just make 4? He's like, okay, well, what do you want? I'm like, just take the Strat neck and put the Starcaster body on there. We'll figure out a pickup and just keep the one knob. And then whatever else the custom shop thinks it needs in terms of what's going to make it stay in tune and sound awesome, like, I'm all ears. And Tom wanted the Dirty Fingers pickup in there, which was in his 333s at Gibson. But then we realized, and I didn't know this, that it was an actual Gibson pickup.
They're not going to pop that in.
So that wasn't going to work. And so I had a conversation with Alex Press, who's at the custom shop at Fender, and we started talking about pickups. And he's like, I think it should be either a JB or a Duncan custom. And then I heard I already knew about the JBs because I had JBs in some of my guitars. And then I heard the SH5, which is a Duncan custom, and I was like, I think Tom would love this, because something that Tom likes is that he likes a high output pickup to cover up his sloppy guitar playing. But he also likes the note to be heard. And I felt like the Duncan custom had that. And so I was like, if it's good enough for Eddie Van Halen, it's good enough for Tom, right?
And Tom gets it. He loves it. And he's like, all it needs is just a couple penises drawn on it, and we're in good shape.
That was literally it. Like, he plugged it in, and it was just like, wow, done. We don't even have to like try to make this fit. It just like fit perfectly. And after that, it's like, that was our primary guitar for the rest of the record.
Wow. That's rad, dude. Yeah, I've loved seeing all of his new Starcasters out on stage. Like,
yeah,
this whole era, man. Like, dude, it's just been killer.